This PC is 5 years old and honestly there's absolutely nothing it can't do. I can play every single modern game at 1440p with ray tracing on, no DLSS, and I constantly maintain a steady 80 to 100 FPS no matter what game I play. No stutters, no compromises, and definitely no frustration. I'll share my exact specs later on in the video, but that definitely raises a bigger question. Is it even worth it to upgrade your PC anymore? That's obviously a super complex question, but it comes with good reason, because everywhere you look, Instagram, X, TikTok, it feels like everyone's just upgrading to these amazing gaming setups and getting the newest components, but you're lagging behind. It definitely makes you feel like if you're not upgrading every single generation, your setup is somehow falling behind. But is that really the case? So let's start simple, why people actually upgrade their PC in the first place. Spoiler alert, it's not because their PC suddenly stops working. It's much deeper than that. Well, not really, it's just hype. Basically, every single year, companies drop new GPUs, CPUs, and general components for your PC, which pose amazing results year on year. At least that's what they display in the graphs. You literally feel like you need to upgrade. And look, this marketing is literally their job. They need to sell hardware to make profits. Well, except for Nvidia, which kind of just sell AI now, but that's a completely different topic for a completely different video. Nvidia, if you want to sponsor me, I love your company and I love everything about it. Okay, but the point is that marketing is there to make your PC feel obsolete. Like genuinely, if you watch these new releases, it makes you feel like your current PC just isn't going to run any new games. But here's the thing, that's definitely just not true for most people. And that nicely brings me on to the next segment, the reality that most people just don't talk about. Let me prove it to you. If you look at facts and statistics using real-world graphs and data, such as the Steam hardware survey, the vast majority of players and gamers are still running super mid-range hardware. And I mean, by no case is everyone using really bad PCs, but it's mostly just mid-range hardware from like 5 years ago or even longer than that. No top-tier GPUs, no $4,000 PCs, they run perfectly fine and can definitely still run all the modern games just perfectly. See, the issue is when you go on social media, especially YouTube and Instagram, it makes you feel like every single person is getting the latest and greatest, but this is just the 0.1%. It makes the tiny percentage seem like the majority, which is just not the case at all. Social media shows you the insane desk setups, the super expensive PCs, and all the monitors and everything in between. It makes you feel like you need this to game. But that's not the reality. The reality is someone like you who enjoys sitting at their desk, maybe they come home from work and school and they just enjoy gaming, and for that their PC does everything it needs to do. The point is, it's more than good enough for its purpose. You don't need to be like the people who spend loads of money on it. And now onto my next segment, why you probably don't even need to upgrade. Now here's the uncomfortable truth, which I don't think a lot of people talk about, and it's pretty much every modern GPU from like 4 years ago is totally overkill for what 99% of people actually do on it. If we look at statistics, most people are still running 1080p as their main display, and then 1440p is getting more popular, but it's definitely not the main benchmark, and rarely any people are actually using 4K. How many of you would actually get a noticeable difference if you spent loads of money on a new PC? I'm gonna say not many of you. If your GPU can just run games perfectly well, hit your monitor's refresh rate, and not stutter during gameplay, do you really need a new PC at all? What are you actually gonna gain from upgrading? Maybe more FPS, but is that really needed? Most of your monitors probably don't go above 144 Hz anyway. An extra PC looks good and all, but are you actually going to notice the difference day to day? And optimization is only getting better. Just because a new PC can and definitely will get more frames, it doesn't necessarily mean that you actually need more frames. But if we're talking about upgrades, it brings me on to the next segment, which is upgrades which I think are genuinely worth it and can help extend the lifespan of your already good PC. The one main exception is storage. Now, if you're still running on a hard drive, it's definitely worth upgrading to a SSD. This is going to be one of the most singular, important, and day-to-day changes, which just is going to improve your overall experience. Games are going to run faster, they're going to load faster, your PC will boot faster. This is the cheapest way you can give your PC just a breath of new life. And the best part is you don't need a new GPU, you don't need a new CPU, you just need newer storage and your whole PC can literally feel brand new. I did this a few years back. I went from a hard drive to an NVMe. The difference was night and day. I would recommend everyone just to go get an NVMe SSD if you can. And I'm not saying upgrading is completely pointless. It's definitely not. There's use cases where upgrading totally makes sense, and I definitely get that. For example, your CPU or GPU is genuinely ancient. I'm talking like 10 years ago now. You're stuck on a hard drive which literally can't load games. If any of these actually affect you and they affect the way you use your PC, then I think it's totally okay to go buy a new PC and buy a new GPU. Or maybe you rely on your PC for work, rendering, editing, coding, then yeah, go do it. Technology should definitely enable you what you want to do and not get in the way. But then upgrading just because there's something newer is where most people fall into the trap of consumerism. But now I want to talk about my personal PC that I showcased in the start of the video. So this system is actually 5 years old when you look at the individual components. Came out all around 2020, somehow almost pushing 6 years old. I've got a 3080 in this build, and thinking that a 3080 is almost over half a decade old is just absolutely insane to me. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But even though it's that old, guess what? I can play any game at 1440p, ultra settings, not just high, literally ultra settings. I always crank up ray tracing, and on every single AAA game, I can at least maintain a stable 60 FPS with DLSS. And the good thing is, every time new DLSS comes out, it's actually backwards compatible a few generations of the RTX cards, which just gives you even more reason not to upgrade. Obviously, you don't get the new features like AI frame generation, etc. What I'm trying to say is I just don't have to rebuild everything. I just make small changes which actually affect my day-to-day use of my PC. For example, recently I added more storage, and I did this because I genuinely needed more storage. This is a worthy upgrade. I see that there's a 5080 out. I'm not going to go buy a 5080 just because I can get better FPS. Do I need better FPS? No. Is my PC perfectly fine? Yes. Therefore, I just don't need a new PC. These small changes are ones that can make a real difference. Even something from subtly changing the color scheme of your PC can give it a nice refresh without having to spend the crazy prices of components right now. So yeah, upgrading my GPU or CPU wouldn't meaningfully change my experience. It would just change the superficial numbers, which I don't even notice. No, upgrading isn't pointless. But is it necessary anymore? Honestly, for most people, definitely not. Your PC is probably a lot more powerful than you think. And if it does everything you need it to, maybe the best upgrade is nothing at all. But what do you think? Are you going to upgrade your PC, or are you going to finally skip this generation?